He came to me after his death.
TMI? Okay,
I wanted
that
so
way.
much to believe.
Also, the patterns on that ribbon seemed almost like they were out of an Awada game for a bit.
You saw Abaddon after he fell. Saw him.
So yeah, after defeating Straga, there you go, Azrael led us here. The Garden of Eden, or what remains of it.
More ignorant sprite. I bore witness as the first ones were cast out and the garden fell to ruin. I could not let heaven's first gift.
So Azrael managed to hide an entire location from Big G himself. How? I have no fucking idea. Especially considering how the Tree of Knowledge is kind of powerful, as they're about to explain.
Abaddon has been to the tree.
Also, apparently this is a weapon too.
It depends.
The destroyer. The tree will show it to you. I never dared use it.
Basically, the tree will answer your question. It's kind of like the Mobius chair from the DC universe, except it combines with the miracle machine and it gives you something tangible to your wish.
That was not for me to know.
But you need to survive
Each who
that.
comes before the tree receives a different gift. Some receive nothing.
Well, Abaddon has been already here before.
By visions, or simply destroyed. No.
Wow, it's a literal roll out of chance.
Come.
I already have.
Also, the best part is that the cutscene pans as if it gives you already control, but then immediately transitions instead to the next scene where you actually need to stop for something. I have no idea how the sequence was actually planned via storyboard, but you can tell, it was changed in production.
I wonder if maybe a gameplay sequence was planned, but at some point they had to cut that.
You're about to see. Because, again, we've been doing a lot of Zelda stuff, but isn't there something we've been kind of missing? Something about a pesto character.
Oh, trial time.
Conquer the shadow, then you may pass. Are you ready to face yourself in the light?
Yep, we need to have the equivalent of Dark Link, because of course. And we get these very Image Comics looking masks, which allows us to tap into the Shadow Realm on command, so we don't have to rely anymore on golems.
Fight well.
Okay, Majora. I'll face myself. Also, yes, they even animated you with the mask on.
Yes, if you have equipped it like this. So, you know how, mirror matches with your shadow character goes. They have the same, moveset as you, but they are absolutely more busted, so you need to actually think a bit outside the box.
I'm actually curious. Is it possible to customize this boss fight by, how many upgrades you've unlocked, essentially? Or is this one always the same?
It's possible, I guess, but that only depends on the combat moves, because it mostly instead relies on the upgrades that you acquire mandatorily through the story, like, one of the powers that War already has, and later on it will transform into the Chaos form.
That's pretty much why I asked about, upgrades, because I presume all the power-ups, you're scripted to get, so of course it would probably have those if that's what it mirrors.
I was mostly thinking instead about the moveset, but again, I don't know about the details. So there you go, eventually transform into the Chaos form, and you need to properly try to defeat it, on your own.
Without using your own Chaos form, that's how you show you're worthy of it.
You can potentially do it if you conserve, you got an item of it, but again, I never tried it, because again, this fight is fairly doable, as you can see, because the Chaos form, if you recall, is low in molasses, so you can actually take advantage of that via, hit and run tactics. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I forgot about this, my bad. This is a very confusing mess.
Fighting fire with fire, eh?
Oh, okay, that was pretty cool when you slashed your swords at the same time and made it look like that Bowser versus Dark Bowser fight.
That being said, War still defeats the Shadow Self, Shadow True Self on foot. There you go.
See to it that this is not a prophecy of things to come.
Heaven's first gift awaits you. will remain here with the Watcher.
I'm not letting the horseman out of my sight. Where he goes, I go.
Indeed. Go then, Darkling. Make for the tree. You will never reach the other side.
Again, the logic is that lesser creature, like the species that the Watcher, is part of, will not even be able to contain a fraction of the knowledge that the tree provides. Again, the Horsemen are a special case, but that's the second game that will explain their origin story.
We await your return.
Be interesting if it's one of those variants where they were regular people who were chosen to eventually become the envoys.
Okay, they were
and
technically
whatnot.
chosen, yes, but the backstory is different. Again, whenever we get to the second game, that will be the answer, because it basically tells you right from the get-go. I will tell it right now, because that itself is not a spoiler, but again, to be fair, the game itself bothers to tell immediately, so might as well wait for that.
Of course, all in due time.
So yeah, the Shadow Mask allows you to reveal objects that are normally hidden, which means different paths, and also treasure chests, which also sends a shield down your spine, because that means there are a factor of other chests scattered throughout the other levels that you might have potentially missed with this.
Fun backtracking.
Now, to be fair, it's not as much, believe it or not, because it's mostly chests containing souls, or at best trinkets that just helps you a bit in combat. So when it comes to fragments of the Abyssal Armor, there's only one, and it's right behind that waterfall. I will get it later.
On the one hand, it's nice that they don't do that to make completing the game a pain, but then I just have to ask, why even bother them? Since I think by that point
you'll
you'll
some kind of
mostly
reward without necessarily string you back via, too much annoyance, I guess.
I guess that's fine enough. I just wonder if they're really that used to those, since if I recall correctly, at that point you've more or less gotten all the upgrades you can get for collecting
well, you
souls.
can always get remember, Jova, there are the
right achievement.
Not necessarily achievement. Remember, there are also the magical powers that cost a lot if you really want to go through them, and grinding enemies alone will not be really enough.
Fair point, fair point. Okay, then in that case, yeah, I think that's a good middle point. It's a reward if you're really that curious, but it's not something you absolutely have to if you're trying to complete the game.
I was checking here to see if there was potentially an area, something that I might have got, but I don't think is there. Yeah.
I should note that in cases where backtracking can actually be fun, this is probably not as much a problem.
Like the average Metroidvania. Like Symphony of the Night. Alright, now things are about to get a bit trippy.
Would you serve in heaven?
So let's first see what happened to Abaddon.
The storm is coming, Uriel.
Oh,
Soon,
of course.
I will need you at my side.
I would follow you into hell, my lord.
So yeah, I remember what happened in the beginning. Abaddon miscalculated and got killed.
They knew.
However, before he returned to Azrael to go to the tree, he was greeted by this.
Or so the humans used to
This
say.
disembodied voice, I forgot who she's voiced by, is unidentified for this game, but for the purpose of the sequels, she's supposed to be Lilith, because of
I
course.
simply took advantage of your initiative.
The first daughter of hell.
And the first lover of Adam,
offering
supposedly.
And you.
So yeah, because, the name Abaddon should have ticked you off, the demons were already in advance of what he was going to do, took in advance, and now we're offering to, serve them or be a subservient of the council and be punished as a result.
So I offer you this choice. Would you serve in heaven or rule in hell?
And thus they turned Abaddon into the Destroyer. Yes, of course it's him, and it's a giant dragon.
Azrael. Persuade him to help us. Then, together, we will change the face of the universe.
I'm guessing she was using some heavy cursed magic to corrupt him, because
No,
I feel like...
But also, this is important. It seems that the council knew about all of this. But of course, we could not present evidence. Damn it.
But from whom? Until we know, we must wait. His act breeds open defiance. the council weaken.
Of course, it's all about maintaining your stupid political power.
We cannot stop Abaddon.
So basically, you put War through a kangaroo court knowing he was innocent just
And
to
they
have him
used
clean
it.
up for you.
And they, despite the risk, they still used him for the sake of, you know, rooting out all of his shit. Without him knowing, by the way.
We will send one for whom
Also,
This is
I know
basically
when
their-
Frank Welker was using his Cave of Wonders voice game. You can't fool me.
So this is also a vision of the future now.
the seventh seal. This world is ours. Heaven is ours.
Of course. Wow, what a surprise! The character voiced by Mark Hamill turned out to be evil.
You know, you'd think
And
the Watcher
now
would
you
have
have to
been.
retrieve the sword that will kill you in the future. Again, trippy.
You know, you'd think the Watcher would be a bit nervous about us going to the Tree of Knowledge, knowing that that might pretty much out him.
Supposedly he's not suspecting this kind of thing. He's only focused entirely about the idea of finding out the conspiracy of Abaddon. But you'll see, War is about to play his cards just right if you listen to what he's gonna say.
Alright then.
Again, War is many things, but he's not stupid.
I should have known you were untrustworthy. Oh, you only just now got the memo.
Well,
Abaddon is the destroyer.
the Archangel?
He was betrayed. He is only a pawn in some greater game.
You must bring him peace.
No.
Abaddon
Yeah, for
is
once
the
I actually agree
destroyer.
with the Watcher. Fuck
I'm
him.
pretty sure peace is off the table.
Did you find any clues among the visions? A way to stop him?
There was a sword, one which broke the seals.
The Armageddon blade.
If you recall, it was forged also thanks to
After the
Kane.
seals were broken, Abaddon ordered the blade destroyed on the very anvil of its creation. Horseman,
Of course he did.
I fear the blade is lost to us now.
It will be.
So yeah,
made
another thing
again.
taken from this time Twilight Princess, and now we'll obviously have to
What else did
gather
you see?
the fragments of
Abaddon
the sword
guards
and
the
forge it
seventh
again.
seal.
However,
Plots
we're
with
not
others
done.
to storm the White Gates. Uriel will lead the Hellguard against him and fail.
What else did you see?
I saw nothing else.
Hmm.
Nothing whatsoever.
Are you sure?
This is where
Once it is
starting
closed,
is Batman
the
Gambit, so
secrets will
trust
be
me, the
lost
way it
forever.
pays off will be
When you are
spectacular.
ready, I will begin.
Beautiful. I kind of feel a bit sorry for Uriel. It seems like she is basically just scripted to fail. She fails at capturing
unfortunately,
war.
if you noticed, everyone is being manipulated in this fucking franchise. Also, don't bother listening to what Azrael said, where, you know, he says that after we're done, we can all never go back, because we totally can. I wonder if at some point it was supposed to be a point of no return, but then the developers decided, yeah, that's not really, you know, too big of a
Well,
deal.
he took a swing at him. It's like you were trying to off him early.
So yeah, lots
But
of
yeah.
things to actually untangle. First of all, to answer your question, Jova, no, Abaddon was just, you know, easily corruptible on his own, and Lilith just made it an offer we couldn't refuse. No necessarily mind manipulation, just it was unfortunately, you know, at the wrong place at the right time for them.
Ah. It's kind of a shame that it implies that God's favorite kids, the Archangels, were kind of all potentially corruptible.
Again, it serves to showcase that in this setting, good people do not necessarily choose alignments. We've seen already with Samael, which despite being, you know, a demon and potentially, you know, being a threat, still had pretty much all the opportunities to kill War, but didn't because he recognized his cause, for example. And now instead we see angels acting all high and mighty, but seeing their hubris, leading to their downfall.
Could have left me to my fate.
And the little destroyer is, well, was head of the Archangels at the time. Interesting.
It's the
kind
classic
of like
comics.
Lucifer.
It's the classic 90s mentality of wanting to be edgy, talking about religion, because Image Comics had already this. If you never read Spawn, the first major run of Spawn was pretty much full of this kind of thing, to the point where I think around the mid-2000s they had to basically soft reboot with a sort of a universe reset where everything after still had the classic Image edge, but it was technically a bit lighter in terms of, not being too bleak, because the setting up until that point was so, full of despair that a lot of it might have actually legit made people ask why even bother. So anyway, just to continue a second. So anyway, you need to find now the 7 pieces of the Armageddon Blaze scattered throughout the entire world. Thankfully, one is right already there for the taking. You need to use the Shadow Mask to actually, reveal these angles.
And it turns out these pieces are why we needed the Black Hammer from earlier, to forge the Armageddon Blade.
Ultane. After we get all the pieces, which are conveniently placed on the map, we'll need to go back to him, and he will forge again the Armageddon Blade. So,
wow, really? Really? So much for that whole you can't return thing if we have to go back to the guy to forge it.
You are wise to seek help from old Vulgrim.
So for the sake of actually speeding things up, I'm just gonna showcase me getting to the various pieces. There's only one of them that has some level of plot relevance attached to it, because a cutscene and an event plays that is important. But for the purpose of the others, you can just, backtrack and collect them. Again, it's kind of like the Twilight Mirror in Twilight Princess.
Okay, so I guess to be fair in that regard, then, it's not too painful that you get a power-up that centers around the backtracking, since you have to backtrack anyway to get these pieces.
It gives you an incentive, let's just say that. But here's the other thing that, this revelation tells you, the fact that the Council is not as, unbiased as it may be. It mostly cares about themselves and will do anything to maintain the power that they have, which also means going up against the very servant that they have, like the Horseman.
Feels just like the Jedi Council.
Yeah, I do wonder if they actually took inspiration from the Star Wars prequel for that. Later games will actually elaborate more on this revelation, the idea that, the Council is just a set of power-hungry people. But again, it does make you wonder what those big G sees in all of this. We do not know, because it's conspicuously absent.
It does also beg the question. One would assume Lilith was acting on Big L's orders, but
the next
who's to say
next games will actually confirm or unconfirm that, Jova, so you will have to wait until then.
Alright, well, going off of the idea that, this, but what if the twist is that she's actually going against the Devil's orders, and both him and God are pretty much just in the dark on all this? Of course, they would probably need a big enough distraction to distract them from the literal apocalypse, but again, who knows? We'll have to see what becomes of what.
Remember, again, it's also more the fact that it's not even a setting similar to Ultra Kills, where they bother to say that, like, God is dead, someone killed him, or, and now it's resulting power vacuum. Up until this point, and I mean, by the time of, the release of Genesis, because, again, the 5th game is still in production almost, 2 years after its reveal, so we'll have to see. Big revelations that we have concerning God are not, present, for lack of a better term.
Of course. Tio, just to recap, you basically have been following this series since the start, right?
Yes, maybe not at launch, but yes, pretty much since the beginning, and I played all of them, all of the games.
So while we know that they always had, the plan of how things would go, did they make it apparent from the get-go that what was going to follow wasn't going to be necessarily a sequel, but kind of prequels, side stuff, before we would get to the end?
The studio that developed the games back then, VG Studio, Jasper, took up until the end for me to mention them, did manage right from the get-go after this was over that the games that were following were going to tell what's going to happen to the other horsemen to arrive at the end point of this game, basically.
Alright,
become
so it
more
sounds
clear
like
to
they
how
were.
the final cutscene is structured.
So it sounds like they were relatively honest and, let fans know, okay, you're going to have to wait a bit before we actually properly move the timeline forward, but trust us, we have a plan. Which
Again, considering
I can
originally
appreciate.
they intended the games to be potentially on a yearly, not a yearly release, but on a 2-year release from each other, that kind of makes sense. So they kind of structural plan, a bit similar to what Cyberpunk 2 did with the .hack games, But unfortunately, because the old THQ got bankrupt and Nordic Games had to wait until, we had enough budget to do something, we had to wait long, and only now it seems that we're finally getting some resolution to this. But again, the franchise is more than 15 years old at this point, so this is why a lot of people want basically a closure, because some people literally died in between games.
Yeah, talk about your hiatus, but at least it seems like the end is in sight, ideally.
Here's hoping. Again, THQ Nordic is not the best publisher around, especially with the stuff between their fuck-up of, Q&A testing and, the other stuff the Nordic Group is guilty of. But I will say that at the very least we bother to have something going on with this franchise. So there is that. Anyway, before continuing, let me show also some Easter eggs, because, for example, you get also the other pieces of the Abyssal armor, don't worry. But there are also some other stuff. In some specific locations that you can access only via a specific power-up, you reach what normally is supposed to be a dead end. And you have to fight this guy. This is the Gentleman Wicked K, voiced by Keith Cervesia, with a very, very strange British accent.
Is he supposed to be like a take on Jack the Ripper?
Looks more like probably Baron Samedi, but it does appear to be a good old sporting shot. And every time you defeat him, you gain a decent amount of souls, and he flees away. For this purpose of this game, you can only find him in like 3 locations in total, and that's it. It's just an Easter egg because the developers literally had free enough time to just develop a quirky zombie to put as a bonus encounter. That's it. In the following games, he will kind of act as a proper super boss. Which means it will be kind of a bit more difficult to track him down, but I will do my best.
Gonna be funny if it turns out the twist is that he's the ultimate real bad guy of this whole thing. And he's just been toying with you up until now, testing and gauging your abilities.
So this is this is an alternate ending, an alternate future for Professor Layton.
He became a zombie. I don't remember Layton ever carrying a cane.
No, well, he's old. I mean, look at him, he's a skeleton.
Yeah, remember his future self in Lost Future, if I recall correctly, had a cane as well.
But he was voiced by Lam O'Brien, so that means war is Professor Layton.
Oh my god, don't you see? That's the truth behind War's origin. He was Professor Layton until he died, and thus took on the vow from God to become the Horseman of War to maintain order.
And he slightly changed, and he decided to slightly alter his voice.
I mean, to be fair, when you're pretty much immortal, I can imagine sometimes you just change stuff up for the quirkiness of it all.
We're almost there.
Like, tell me, Dwibs, if you weren't immortal, that you'd take on different personas and accents just to not go mad from the boredom. And yes, mess with people.
Yeah, of course.
So he's supposed to be a reference to another game from Gunfire Games or something?
No, remember this game was originally developed by Visual Studio. This was in the original release. But again,
Gunfire's 2015.
It was just a quirky thing that the devs did because they had enough time to do something else. So you can kind of tell because it's just randomly dropping some specific places and doesn't offer anything else.
But wait a minute, if this guy used to be Professor Layton, what the hell happened to Luke?
I don't know.
Maybe Luke became Strife?
I don't know. Without Professor Layton to guide him, Luke just fell into a mediocre office job.
Also, I found particularly weird the sound effect that he had, when he when he retreats back into his head. So fucking weird.
To be honest, Joe, falling into a criminal life would not only be out of character, but also bit too expected.
Alright, if I recall
Where are you
correctly,
going? Oh.
if I recall correctly, I'm about to get the other pieces of the abyssal armor. They are still scattered also around. You just need to, be a bit creative in finding them. Thankfully, I did get already the one that was hidden inside the tower, because otherwise I would have to go all the way back into it.
So, Tio, how quote-unquote fun is
Hold on.
finding all these pieces? Oh.
This particular
You.
piece of the Armageddon blade
This
puts
is
you
no
against
ambush,
Uriel.
horseman. I come alone.
That's what someone who's planning an ambush would
However,
say.
she wants to
Uriel the
engage us
Hellguard,
in
champion
gentle
of the White
melee
City.
combat
Call
to
you,
sort.
horseman, to Nex Sacramentum.
Fool.
I lay claim to your life before the Creator. Will you dishonor this law as well?
Why?
Because Abaddon said you understood honor. And because he was the best of us.
Nobody tells.
He's the reason we're in this mess, even though that's not completely his fault.
Mind you, war is still rolling with this, so trust the plan, basically. For now, you just need to have a rematch against Uriel. Single combat, as she said. So,
Okay.
no reinforcements.
And I guess she's so honorable she won't even use her flight advantage over us here.
If I recall correctly, no. Also, while she does that speeding move, if I recall correctly, she is invulnerable. So yeah, Uriel doesn't really have too many tricks up her sleeve compared to when you face there alongside Lutane. But as you can see, she's still more resilient and she can give you more damage. So it would be recommended if you gather the abyssal armor before doing this, but as you can see, it's still doable to an extent.
Clearly she's been training for this day.
And put it this way, she's no Malenia Blade of Mikkel, I can tell you that. So.
But you can still solo her.
I mean, you kinda have to. Honestly, it's been a while since I played Darksiders 3. I don't remember...
Elden Ring.
No, Darksiders 3. I don't remember if it has some element of the core mechanic of the Souls-like games. Not all of them are having as a guarantee. Like, Lies of P has a specific way of integrating it that is not really conventional. Also, my mistake, I forgot about the special attack that looks straight out of Kingdom Hearts 2, specifically the Pound Mix edition.
Yes, they do.
Kinda looks like the kind of special attack that the data organization for team members have, the one that bypasses once more and the second chance, because of course they are.
Gotta really emphasize how much tougher things
There
are.
you go.
But wait, not down all the way on the health bar.
Yes, yes. What are you waiting for? Harvest this wench. What? Don't you dare walk away from me!
The next sacramentum is
Yeah,
mine.
fair enough. So.
I decide when the angel dies, not you.
You swore
Do you want me to zap you again?
Abaddon is the destroyer.
Liar!
To protect you, he kept you from the truth. You pledged to follow your lord into hell, never knowing what awaited you, or what he would become.
Abaddon.
He was betrayed and became the enemy of all creation. I've been to the tree. Its gift was truth.
Very
and I share
considerate.
it with you now.
I know what
Remember
you're also
the death
thinking.
oath.
Are we sheep teasing
Soon
these
it
two?
must
No,
be
not really.
fulfilled.
There is a sense of camaraderie to an extent, but nothing more than that. Besides,
We'll see if that...
it's also clear that Uriel has, only eyes for Abaddon.
Seriously, why do you want me to kill every person I see?
Go.
Let's just say I like to be very thorough.
Of course. Only one piece missing.
So, will this avert Uriel's fate? We shall have to wait and see.
Yeah, not much more is, time is remaining, because again, only getting the last remaining piece, and then I will gather, the rest of the Abyssal Armor, and then we're off to the finish of the game. Again, the last act of the game is very short if you know what you're doing, but you need to actually thoroughly explore the different places that, that you've been previously.
I will say, I think one thing they could have done is maybe add more story content for the backtracking to get each piece, Really reflect on how things have changed and how you look on your new perspective.
Mm-hmm. There's also the fact that, okay, if I recall correctly, you do get another cutscene if you go to Ultim before reforging the blade, but I kind of forgot about that. It's not too big of a deal, but I think it might be possible that I missed that.
I do wonder if maybe they would have added more story content for the backtracking, but I recall you have mentioned that, close to finishing up this game, there were some issues that arose in the development process.
No, not really. It was for the second game, because, by that point, the old THQ was about to declare bankruptcy, and it was showcased also that rushing the games out with the plans that they had was not, becoming a good strategy overall.
So I guess as far as we know with this game, things more or less went as planned then.
To an extent, at the very least, how much they want. There you go, after you get the last piece of the Watcher will remind you.
Thane and finish this business.
Alright, so, if I recall correctly, now it's time to get the Abyssal Armor pieces remaining. It's worth noting that you'll be able to see later, once you get the Armageddon Blade, it will permanently replace the Chaos Bringer. Unlike that, you cannot further upgrade it as much as you want. Meaning that, if you want to 100% the customization of the game, when it comes to the RPG elements about leveling up your weapons, if you want to level up 100% the Chaos Bringer, you need to do it so before reforging the Armageddon Blade.
That sounds a bit iffy.
If I recall correctly, New Game Plus allows you to carry all of your equipment with the stats that you have, so if I recall correctly, you should be able to perform that, in New Game Plus if you want, but I haven't really tested myself.
That sounds like how New Game Plus should operate, make things harder, but, let you carry over all your upgrades, basically.
Now I need to get onto this, the top of this drill, which we've been seeing since the first time we came here, to get this next piece.
Very nice.
The next one is back in the Not Wind Temple, the place where, the Mother of Spiders was.
Mm-hmm. Do these places get quieter after you've dealt with the
There are
Guardians?
still a few enemies, but not as much as before. So yes, it's mostly about traversal than anything. They still probably, put some of them in order to let you gain souls, having a way to get souls. And the last piece is behind that waterfall that I forgot to check in, which, to be fair, it kind of makes sense, any level designer worth their salt will actually put a treasure behind a waterfall somewhere.
Just imagine it now. I have found all the pieces. Are you sure? Of course. I found 1, 2. Oh, shit.
And
it's a
we
pallet
put the armor
swap.
together, just like that.
Again, it's a glorified pallet swap for this version, but it serves the purpose of also, letting you sustain less damage.
This version, is there going to be a super duper definitive version where it gets its own cool original look?
But the other horsemen versions of the Abyssal Armor are more elaborate, because it's probably a case where developers took in the feedback from this.
I like how it doesn't really carry over to cutscenes.
No, like you said,
which,
because
you
the
know,
cutscenes are pre-rendered, so...
Could the PS3 do real-time cutscenes?
it could, but
Not
we
all
weren't
the time.
quite... Let me put it like this. Nowadays, we're to a point where real-time cutscenes can look as good as the games they're a part of, whereas back in stuff like the PS2 and even PS3 era, the pre-rendered cutscenes, you know, tended to look more HQ than the gameplay sequences.
Square Enix was practically a master of doing this, in having the super HD, you know, pre-rendered cutscenes up until the PS5, the PS4 era. But if I recall correctly, all cutscenes in 15 are, you know, in-engine.
But what version of the game did you say you were playing? The PS4 one?
The PC version, which is, mind you, the War Mastered edition that got released on PS4. So we're not inventing, did receive an update recently in order to, not necessarily universally, but for the sake of also probably preparing the audience to the upcoming new game.
I wonder how it runs on the Switch.
I don't know about that. There was a Wii U port, believe it or not, Libs.
Yeah, a Wii U port of the War Mastered Edition released a few months after the Switch came out.
Interesting.
Alright, now you properly have the Armageddon blade, which means you just need to return to Azrael and confront the Destroyer.
It looks like a gold-green version of the Monado.
I'm really falling in.
Yeah. Yeah, good to see you, horseman. Goodbye for your climactic battle. Bye.
You can kind of tell that we're still, you know, chasing a bit the God of War trend, because the passage between your regular blade to these golden, glittering effects reminds me of when you get the Blades of Athena at the end of the first God of War game. Alright, in order to access the final boss, you just need to speak with Azrael one last time.
Of course.
It's Abaddon. Uriel has led the Hellguard against him. It is as you foretold. The Hellguard will fall.
Angel of Death, serve me one last time.
Yeah, we think he knows what he's doing. We'll just let him do his thing.
It's also especially because the Destroyer has, you know, already took Uriel.
For someone else. She loved him. And I believe that he loved her. Long ago, before all this.
So he held back from killing her.
Yeah, but I thought it was, if this was a comedy game, I thought he'd accidentally squish her in his hand.
So, the Destroyer wants to offer the same offer to War. And remember, what we know about the Council, it means that they probably won't care after he's done. Especially considering the visual.
Like a great sword.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Together we can conquer the galaxy.
You know, the irony is that we know he's working for Lilith, so he'd be working for Hell, essentially.
Or serve the justice of a corrupt council, and a creator who abandons his most faithful. I offer you this choice.
Oh boy, a story about God's children wondering why is he abandon us. Never heard that one before.
It is quite the conundrum all the time, yes. But the War gets the best answer, mind you.
I choose what once a coward did not.
Fucking got him.
Damn.
Again, I appreciate War for the fact that he always has the best way to taunt people, no matter how ferocious they may appear.
Oh, cool! You can use your steed for this battle.
Yes, at least they give you an excuse to, you know, to ruin. Mostly also because the fight kinda needs a tool for it. You need to potentially catch up with the destroyer, and the final fight will need to be done on horseback. You're able to see. You need to first the trigger, put it down, then start slashing it.
I do like that little bit where they show that Abaddon has enough of his past self in to not kill Uriel.
I also appreciate that because killing her at this point would have felt potentially a bit cheap, but trust me, it's also for the sake of, you know, war's greatest plan, you'll be able to see it.
Interesting to think that War is thinking 10 steps ahead on how to undo this, expose the Council, and somehow return Earth back to, well, not being on
to
fire,
an extent,
like
but
Crisis
you have
City.
to think of the case. Will War decide to, you know, alter fate, or, you know, in a context where you cannot really, you know, challenge it? That's what I have to see.
Possible.
After a certain point, the threat will start doing these drop attacks. I mostly cut out some of the clubs because otherwise the fight would have been potentially too long, because you need to perform the attacks in a specific manner, otherwise, you know, it gets a bit shallow and lawsuits where you can get it to a loop.
Yeah, I definitely would not be surprised if this game was partially inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. I think I mentioned that
Shadow of the
during the
Colossus was partially
Sandworm.
inspired by Zelda himself, so it's mostly curses.
That is true.
So yeah, that unfortunately was just only phase 1, because now, in, you know, like any good Final Fantasy game actually could do, okay, you
This isn't even my final form.
Well, now that's the best part. You fought the monstrous form, now you fight the original form, Abaddon.
Interesting.
You know, I watched Doctor Who, and I had you know that episode where they encountered the devil.
The Satan speaks duology.
Yeah, the bit where they list off all the names they're also called. I thought it was pronounced Abaddon.
It can be both waves.
Also, no wonder Abaddon gave in. They gave him back his hair. Because I remember he was bald when he was an angel, but now he actually has a proper...
He had a bit of an hairdo before. If you look back on the cutscenes, you should be able to see part 1. But,
oh, he had hair, but I think it was like on the side, whereas the scalp was bald. But now he looks like he's sporting a proper crown of hair
it's
now.
mostly also because before it was more on the grey white side, while because now he's a fallen angel, everything is darker, you know.
Go figure.
But yeah, it's
just interesting.
Occasionally, you have also these clashes where you will start to have more proper duties instead of you know, just the press circle to win. It really
Also,
does give a bit of a flair to the final fight, definitely.
Also, our final boss has black wings and a very long, thin sword.
Well, in this case, it's 2 wings instead of 1. I also find it more interesting is that we get the reverse, because again, copying instead of carrying out time, we get the reverse from the Ganon/Ganon fight, where we fight first the monstrous form instead, and then the more humanoid form, while instead in Ocarina of Time it was the reverse.
You have taught me something, Abaddon. Sometimes duty must be cast aside to do what must be done. It is not
As
for
was
you
told by the
that
great
I'll
prophet Sonic the Hedgehog in Sonic and the Black Knight. That's going to hurt.
Uriel.
Reap what you have sown, betrayer.
There you go.
Well,
And
that's one way to
that's
give
the
him
seventh
peace.
seal. And that's where what the visions came to pass. The Watcher revealing his totally true colors that we did not see coming.
Council.
They knew you'd never play
The
it safe
council,
because
I
of your
in no
precious
way
honor.
foresaw this.
They let you take the fall. They knew you'd butcher everyone involved to clear your name. And you did.
No!
Patience.
Well, she tried.
I've got some for you, too. I'll take that. If it were to get broken, you might get ideas. Like not going back in your little cage.
Thanks for letting me know that for the future.
Freedom in the palm of your hand, and you lost it. What's so damn funny? Even you wouldn't laugh at your own
That was a fake one.
This was exactly what War was planning.
Yours.
Because with this, War
Next
dies.
sacramentum.
The next sacramentum is, complete, as Uriel says, and the prophecy comes to pass. But that's what comes instead later. Uriel shatters the seventh seal, which means that conveniently War can get revived
What did
immediately.
you do?
How nice!
No, no, no! I'm going to pull your guts out through your
She
hair.
doesn't have a halo. Alright, wanna know the meaning of catharsis?
Keep getting up. I'll just kill you again. I was just following orders, like you.
Wow! He literally went from "I'll just kill you again" to "Wait, I was just following orders."
Fight the council. Fight everyone. You'll never get away. You hear me? Never. Don't forget who holds the leash.
I haven't forgotten.
God, is so satisfying.
You knew. You knew what would happen here, what I would do. That's why you spared me.
No,
Then why?
because I would not have the last of heaven's honor die with its champion.
Aw, how noble.
War genuinely believes in the balance at the end of the day.
The duty I uphold. It may call me to raise my sword against you. And if that day comes, I won't hesitate.
Okay.
I mean, let's
You
be
will be
honest,
hunted.
I've won 2
However,
matches
here's our
against
hookup
you.
line.
The council, and there will be others. You would wage this war alone?
No,
Remember, the seventh seal applies to
not
everyone.
alone.
And so the Horsemen will always remain 4. And the next few games basically tells us how the others got here.
Yeah, sorry, War, we kind of got lost hanging around Neptune, so, yeah.
Yeah, I should have known. I knew we should have taken that left turn at Uranus.
Alright.
So,
that
was
is
Darksiders.
the first Darksiders. Final thoughts, please.
It's all right. Solid enough. These kinds of stories have a load of what I call epic jargon. Like they use a load of big, epic, important sounding words that I don't quite understand. So it's a bit tricky for me to follow the story at times. But best I could get is there's a whole bunch of manipulating, and our sidekick is a dick until he gets his dick head taken off. And we're going to find out how the other guys, like our main character, come to be at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Vernon Wells. Huh,
I already
Rancic from...
mentioned
Yeah, cool.
Bennett from Commando, the guy that gets impaled on a steam pipe.
Yeah, and Rancic from Power Rangers Time Force. Oh, SCWRM. He did the voice direction for this game. Come quite a ways from doing the music from Ridge Racer 64.
Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it'd be like if it turned out what a voice director composed the music for I don't know, the Hobbit.
Well, remember, Dweebs, okay, not to the same extent, but I need to remind you, the Metal Gear Rising composer, was also the composer, one of his early works was fucking Toontown. And also, to an extent, Mick Gordon, legendary for the soundtrack of Doom 2016, and Killer Instinct, also composed for the Wii tie-in game to the Last Airbender Shyamalan movie.
Well, yeah, I know an example too. I know Yasunori Mitsuda. The same year he did the music for Xenogears, he also did the music for Mario Party.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a shift.
Also, we got the Skywalker Symphony chorus. Someone really had Lucasfilm in their pockets.
It's like, I'm not sure if George Lucas at the time kept tabs on every single little thing that he ran.
This was a few years before he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, so it's probably a case where he will stop caring at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it's probably just maybe talking with people, but generally was just counting his money, or
Epic Games,
or trying to get that Red Tails movie made.
I don't remember if it was done with the Unreal Engine Java, so it might be possible. Anyway, you're done, Dweebs?
Yeah.
Alright, Jova, what about you?
This was a pleasant introduction to the series, which any first game should be, but no. It's an interesting take on Christianity, with its own interpretations of whatnot here and there. The apocalypse, and an interpretation on the character of the Horseman of War, essentially. Like, he's not like a lot of interpretations of war who are just bloodthirsty or wanting to stoke the conflict. If anything, this seems to be... Yeah, if anything, this Horseman of War seems to be somebody who wants to end the conflict, which I guess in a way makes sense that that's who you would want in charge of the whole war game and whatnot. Somebody who knows restraint and knows when the bloodshed and violence needs to end. Liam O'Brien, of course, turns in an impeccable performance as usual. Mark Hamill is nice as his sleazy, wormy sidekick and whatnot. Now, interestingly enough, I do feel like some things feel a bit telegraphed, but I feel like the story's tongue-in-cheek enough to the point where they get, yeah, you probably saw some of this stuff coming even before you literally get shown what's coming too in some regards. I will say this, it'll be an interesting twist if it turns out that through a complicated bout of machinations, the Council are technically actually the ones responsible for the apocalypse, but maybe in a way that even they themselves don't realize for the end and whatnot. Because it seems that the end goal is to bring an end to the apocalypse, and I guess restore things right, but that's probably going to involve taking things up with the Council proper.
Keep in mind, Jova, it's also the case where while the status quo by the end of this game is set, as in the Earth is barren and humanity is fucked, there are ways to put things back into place, and some of the next games will explore that.
Dare I ask if time travel is on the table?
For now, no.
Because that usually when you get something this big, it's either time travel or, oh, by solving this problem, everything goes to normal and the humans don't even realize they were dead. But I digress. This game seems like it's fun. The gameplay can be a bit slow at times, but it seems like they know what they're doing. I do think my biggest disappointment gameplay-wise is, first off, the fact that the Chaos form is not as all-powerful as you would think it should be from how it looks. I feel like they could have buffed that. Also, I do wish that they gave more opportunities for you to use your steed Ruin throughout the game as a whole as well. It definitely wears its Legend of Zelda influence on its sleeve, but in a way that still keeps it unique enough from that, which I appreciate. For the most part, I like the story. There are some story bits I do feel drag on a bit more than others and whatnot. It's nice to know that we'll pretty much get the setup for how things got to this point and where the other horsemen were. I don't know if I would have had it be that each horseman had to get their own game before we get to a sequel proper here, but I'll just have to wait and see how it goes. That being said, it does give us satisfaction with getting to take out the Watcher, essentially. I will say that some of the stuff, and mind you, this is probably more disappointment shaped by the fact that we still haven't gotten some of these answers in over a decade. I do kind of wish that maybe the game didn't hinge too much on getting a sequel. Again, we're getting it, so that's good, but man, there's probably a lot of realities where we didn't get a sequel, and these were the answers or lack thereof we were left with. I'm not saying that no first installment should ever leave mysteries available. Obviously, more often than not, they got to. I just feel like at some points it feels like the game's kind of just spinning its wheels when it could maybe be giving us some answers and whatnot. I do wonder if they had to really hide Lilith's whole deal, since it feels
Mind you,
like,
for the
hey,
purpose of this game, we did not know yet what the voice's identity was.
oh yeah, and that's my point. Did we need it to be a secret if we pretty much find out in the next title anyway? Again, I'm not saying that it's a deal breaker. It is just one of the things I wonder. Otherwise, though, like I said, this seems like a perfectly fine and fun game. It may not be for everyone since some sections do drag on a bit, and if you do not like backtracking, there's probably going to be some bits that annoy you. Otherwise, though, it seems pretty much good for anyone who's a fan of Legend of Zelda and a bit of God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how that will fare with how the series maintains its gameplay identity across the next two games, I will have to wait and see.
That's
For
the
now,
fun part
this was
of it doesn't.
yes, and what I wonder is how that may either help or hobble the series as a whole. But that is just something I'll have to wait and see. For now, this was a good first installment, and I am interested in what comes next. So, mission accomplished.
Anyway, as for me, again, this is still a fine enough game to revisit from time to time. Not really a lot, because unfortunately the pace is still fairly slow. But honestly, the test of time is being kind of generous to this game in particular, because as a reminder, when it came out, it was mostly dismissed as just, another Devil May Cry God of War clone, just with a bit more pizzazz to it. But honestly, especially these days where instead there's more abundance of Souls-like games, this stands out a bit more. It can be tedious. It's definitely recommended to not play it, in long sessions, but to take it on your time. So maybe the Switch version is the more recommended after all waves. And so, as for the story, it is serviceable for what it wants to do. You can tell the image comic influence all the way from the aesthetic to the type of, edginess to it, but it has its tongue firmly planted in cheek when it comes to balancing out the tone wanted to tell a specific story. It teeters the line a lot, and it takes a lot of risk, but for now it does hold up. So I'm glad for that. The music is fine. The voice talents are actually pretty fine. I can say technically the same for my country's dubbing. We didn't employ particular celebrities on the level of Mark Hamill, but I prefer the original, English dub for this case, and also the future games, because unfortunately my country will suffer for a lot of recasting when it comes to the other games in this franchise, so the English dub is more consistent on that front at the very least. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Everything else has been said during the run. So next will be Darksiders 2, but it's on pause for now. While we were recording, as I mentioned, the War Master Edition of Darksiders 1 got a huge update that fixes a lot of bugs that the original this release had. and it optimizes a bit more. And considering, like I said, that the definitive edition Darksiders 2 is still held with scotch tape, even despite everything, I'm crossing my fingers that they're trying to do something else also tied to that. At least I will wait for a while and see what happens, otherwise we'll still move on. Anyway, in the meantime, all this presence of Mark Hamill having to play a bad guy made me think back of something else that was very popular around the PS3, Xbox 360 era. So, tune in next time, where instead we start officially, I don't know how long it will last, if it will last for the entire summer period, but our summer in Gotham City. So see you for that.
See you then.
Yeah.